G'day punters, welcome to Victims of the Punt, the Sydney review show for the weekend at Rosehill for the Coolmore Classic, but there was a pretty decent support card and we're in for a very wet week going into the multiple Group 1s this Saturday at Rosehill. But I'll start with Rob Scurry in the yard, and Rob, you're coming off, I think you said it was almost a career best performance, but I'm sure you've done better in terms of the numbers, but you obviously saw them very well.
Yeah, mate, they were talking to me on the weekend. If I only kicked off with Welsh Legend for the punters, you know, I had a great result on the race, and I'm just like, oh, why not tip it? Mark was tipping it. Looked perfect. Great house. Anyway, great day. Yeah, in terms of seeing him from the yard, I don't think I've seen him better.
Beautiful. Mark Shean, how'd you see the day overall?
About a C- from me. Did a lot of too much wet form and then couldn't get the brain going for the dry. So no, I left it in.
That's pretty much me in a nutshell at Moonee Valley. Mark Rhoden, you've obviously started the card really well with Welsh Legend and picked up a few more along the way. So a handsome day for yourself.
It was all right. Yeah, I gave a little bit back at Gosford, unfortunately. Got a race wrong there. But Toffee Tongue was good as well. Yeah, he had a good result in Welsh Legend. Just needed, again, one more to push it over the top. I thought the 2-year-old race, the fillies race might be that. I was really confident about that, but Arcaded with that Blue Diamond form upset the apple cart for me. But Mark's point's a good one. You get it when you're in the headspace of a softer heavy, and you end up with a good and firm track. It's very difficult to adjust on the fly.
We will talk about that regarding this Saturday a little bit later, because you're looking at the forecast and I'm not sure what number you have at the end of the heavy, but it's probably in double digits. Anyway, we'll talk about that at the end. We'll start with a 2-year-old race in race 2 for the fillies, and as you said, Arcaded. It's coming up from Melbourne, and that Blue Diamond form is really starting to stick pretty strong for this season. And Rob, I was just mentioning to you before, it just is a pretty pro 2-year-old for a Saturday class.
Exactly, and I think that's all this race was, just like a Saturday 2-year-old fillies race. She went out on top. She couldn't have done any better. She's what she is. She's just a pro, not big, not small. I had a spec on the Gary Nixon, Andrew Banks horse here, so I need my head read.
Excuse.
Other than
3 wide he was. Excuse.
Dula Tila somewhere. Maybe got a race in it, but I can't see Arcaded measuring up next week unless maybe a bit like Kiamichi. She did it off this platform last time at a big price, but I don't know.
Mark Shean, slowly run race, 5 lengths slow to the 600. Are you doing anything with these 2-year-old fillies?
No, I think the winner paraded beautifully. Not overly big, but she was in the right spot at the right time. I think these will be struggling to win a Saturday race down the track. Some of them, some of the place getters anyway. Arcaded did the job quite well, and no, I'm not really wrapped in anything. Latino Blend went okay. Was jumping from Newcastle 900 and was hitting the line okay. So maybe down the track, but no, not a great field.
And Mark Rhoden, for you, anything to follow out of this race?
Not to follow. As I said, this is a race I wanted to bet in on Robadilla and Jamea, and I was in trouble pretty early when the ride on Jamea, I don't know if that was a jockey decision or stable instructions or whatever, but it was just a disastrous decision the way the track was playing. That said, I can't say it should have won because her run did end on the line, so I'm not saying she was a good thing beaten, but I don't think she had every chance. But whether I want to chase my money, I've been on it twice in a row. I don't know if I want to keep throwing good money after bad, however.
Yeah,
come to Dula. She's the one out of the race. Andrew Banks. Jockey change. Dula Tila.
We'll watch out for that next start, I'm sure. Race 3 on the card was the Pago, although I think you guys say it a bit differently depending on which state you're in. Anyway, I'll stick with Pago being a sand groper. 1,200 metres for the Colts and Geldings. Shakiro, Rob Scurry, one of your old mates. Even race in terms of the speed, 0.8 lengths slow to the 600. But Rob, run us through how you saw them, because you had Shakiro and Tiger of Malay here, both who you've had time for previously.
Yeah, big time. Shakiro has been very good to me, and it looked like it improved somewhere between, 2 and 5 lengths. And unlike Tiger of Malay, it looked like map to advantage, so it had to be a bet. As Hilal was likely to go back. He looked like he'd trained on. I actually sent out Hilal on top, or maybe it was 5-6-1. Yep. Anyway, great ride on Tiger of Malay. Not so good Hilal. I'll be following, the first two, and not much else in the race, I'd say.
How did Ingratiating parade?
Just okay. Put him in fourth in the numbers. Just like, it was a really hot day and it wasn't sweating up and it seemed to be walking pretty well. But I just thought the 1, 5 and 6 looked better.
Mark Shean, the Colts and Geldings have recorded probably about a 2-length superior performance to the fillies. But again, are you following any of these 2-year-olds going to the next week?
Look, I think there's a couple of good runs in this race. Mizzou, who'd won on debut, was luckless in this race. They elected to take the sit to get him to settle. He'd been very fierce in a couple of trials before that win at Canterbury. And, he got into a lot of trouble in the early part of the straight. I think he got out earlier. He may have nearly won the race. Yep. So he's definitely one to follow. He's by Morris, so I think he'll train on. And, again, very negative tactics on Halal. He had 2 horses draw wider than him, pressed forward and got a trail 3 wide. So I think he could have been probably 3 to 4 lengths closer. I'm not sure what the tactics were here, but maybe they're just looking towards the size.
Yep. Mark Rhoden, the market took a set against Ingratiating late. Do you think that was just purely map related?
Could have been. He didn't need to be that far back, I thought. He didn't need to win this either. And if they're going again next week, so there could well be something left. There's nothing wrong with its run. Not that I don't think this form's A grade, but there's not much A grade 2-year-old form actually going round. So, it ran second in the Blue Diamond, which I keep saying is the strongest form reference for the 2-year-olds. You can make a case to forgive this run. And it's going around again next week, so maybe it's a silly chance. I had no lead on it at all on wet, however.
Yep.
Maybe it was blinkers off and the fact that they were going to run, as Mark said, 7 days into the slipper. So maybe people were treating this as, might need the run sort of thing.
Very diplomatically put.
Yeah. I don't want to pay for 10,000 anyway.
Yeah, that could be the story out of the race, but yeah, I thought Shakiro might never win another race, but he's proven me wrong.
Okay. Do you have any time for any of the others, just purely off what you've seen in the data since Saturday?
Off the data, no. I mean, Mizzou was unlucky, and there was some. Hillel wasn't given much chance in a similar way to Ingratiating, really. I didn't mind the run of the first starter, or I think probably not this level, but there's a win in him. I like the way he closed off.
Okay.
What about Tiger Malay for the sires?
Yeah, well, they're missing the slipper and going that way, which we actually said after his first up run was probably the way to go, didn't we?
Surely he's going to be single fingers in the race. It's hard to, the weather and the barrier, but
good run favourite, yeah.
It seems like a good platform to me.
I'm sure you've got a ticket already in the futures, Rob.
Yes.
Race 4 was over 2,000 metres, the Sky High Stakes. The Group 3 and Toffee Tongue, we mentioned this horse before, got the job done. And also, I think this was the same run it had last preparation when it peaked on that occasion. Wouldn't necessarily say this was a peak performance, but they've gone even for the class, 1.4 lengths slow to the 600. Lobbed in a perfect spot and was able to get over the top of Spirit Ridge. Rob Scurry, this was one of the horses that you had a decent play on the day?
Yeah, like half a unit each way, $15. I didn't know whether it was a perfect Waller or an at-top Waller, but it's somewhere in, maybe it's just a today Waller. It just looked like it couldn't present any better. And, Colette, with the drying track, she was, getting pretty hot. It was a hot day, so you had to forgive horses for sweating. But to me, it just looked like it couldn't parade any better, and never thought it was going to get there. So blessed Tommy. Getting that one home. Spirit Ridge, a bit sweaty, will improve. Colette, maybe giving itself up as at least wants a 5 or worse, to run its best.
Mark Shean, is that how you see the favourite here, Colette?
Yeah, I think, she missed the start and she had to be used up a little bit, but she was pretty plain up the straight from the 400, wasn't she? Look, she'd run a couple of decent races on dry ground just behind the place getters in the Epsom, so probably a little bit disappointing, but Yeah, maybe she does need that wet ground now to produce her best. Toffee Tongue, as Rob said, did parade beautifully and well found by both Rob and Mark. So they got a result there, and Tommy Marquand, I think they should be sending Tommy a scratch it or something.
Bottle of wine.
Mark Rhoden, it's good to have Tom Marquand back in the country because at least he's able to get some of these results to turn your way. He's pretty strong going to the line.
I think he was certainly the difference between winning and losing in this case. Robbie Dolan did a really nice job on the leader, rated it to perfection, really, and has just been nutted on the line by the vigour of T. Marquand throwing it over the line. God bless him. What we were alluding to both pre-race or on the previous show was it was the short up head second to Very Elegant in the Turnbull, third up last prep, and also first run at 2,000 for the prep again. I agree with you. I'm not sure she's gone to that level and on this occasion, but she's got the money anyway, which was the main thing.
Yeah, will be interesting to see how she goes next start, that's for sure. The McCarten Stakes over 1,100 metres, another Group 3 on the card, was won by California Zimble. Even race, even speed once more, 1.5 lengths fast to the 600. Rob Scurry, run us through a few of the chances here. You had a bunch finish with California Zimble knocking off Easy Eddie in Order of Command.
Got the try in order here with plays on California Zimble and Easy Eddie. So lovely watch up the straight. Really enjoyed this race. I do recall Mark Shean was his bet of the day, and I thought the horse looked forward enough, and it can get a little bit hot, and it wasn't. As I said, it was a hot day, so it was just had to be a bet. And Easy Eddie, I hadn't seen him parade better for a long time. Order of Command, impressed as a type. I haven't seen him before, and big boy. Just as a little bit going on between him and the strapper, which I didn't, whereas the other two just walked around really well. So, really keen to follow California Zimble out of the race. I think she's, I'm not sure she's A grade, but she's not far off it. Prime candidate, ran well again, looked well again, his old mate. But yeah, other than that, California Zimble out of the race for me.
Mark Shean, what are you doing with this race going forward?
Yeah, I think the winner still had a bit of improvement. She normally does, even though she's won first up, she normally trains on quite well. So she just got into a nice position here, and I think the fence might have just started to be a little bit off by this stage. So just got into a nice position there. A couple of those leaders did a bit of work early and knocked up. Wonderbar got into an awful spot, as Mark did predict. But I thought she was fantastic from the back on a day where it was pretty hard to make ground. So I think they're the two to look for, 5 and 9, personally.
Yeah, Mark Rhoden, is that the way that you saw this race?
Yeah, it was pre-race. I didn't like Wonderbar's map, but I managed to stuff it up anyway because I then landed on Order of Command in California Zimble and hadn't backed California Zimble early, and as the price kept shortening, I decided to let it go, so I've lost on the race, unfortunately. Totally agree. That was a super run from Wonderbar, hammering home. I think 1100's a shade short of their best trip as well, as I'd rather her on a soft track than dry. So she's come back flying, obviously. Up in trip and soft track, she could be a complete moral next time out. And speaking of complete morals, this horse, Super, who's a 1,400 metres plus horse, I would suggest that his best has run over 900 and 1,100 so far. He's run completely out of his grade here and finished off really well. Back to the midweeks, at 78 or something over 1,300. He will be very hard to beat.
Okay, we'll keep an eye out for Super then. We'll head to race 6 on the card, which was the Phar Lap Stakes over 1,500, which is Group 2 for the 3-year-olds. And Hungry Hard, after, I guess, disappointing so many times last preparation, finally got the job done as a narrow favourite, defeating the Irishman in a fast run race, 4.5 lengths fast for the class on punting form's data to the 600. Rob, run us through how Hungry Heart paraded.
Very well, like another beautiful Waller parader. Walked very well, trained on, coat great, but in my head I'm like, I was going to go back, and I still thought that it was an on-speed kind of day at this point, so seems a bit short. So I actually stayed out of the race. These 3-year-olds have been killing me this autumn. So Poland, decent enough type. I don't know if he's had enough this time in. I remember Mark Rhoden saying that run he had at Caulfield might have flattened him. Maybe it has. But when I'm seeing old mate Bazooka and wondering if he's should be in the numbers, possibly a bet. I don't think there's really much here. Not sure what, probably avoiding the form.
Yep. Mark Shean, what do you think the difference was for Hungry Heart on the weekend? Why was it suddenly a win?
Well, I think Poland over-raced in front. I think these Victorians didn't really stand up. Impecunious looked very light to my eye. It didn't grab me at all. And Embolism sweated up a bit and had a tough run. So, maybe there wasn't much left to beat at the end. I think she got run to suit, dry track, and she's come down the outside, which probably at that stage of the day off the rail was the place to be. So I think things fell into place for her, but at least she's got a win under her belt.
Yep. Are you going to follow her going forward, or any of these for that matter?
Well, look, she was well behind Forbidden Love and horses of that ilk, Montefilia, Mirrorvale. So she's got all form around those. So she's going to step up against good fillies next time out. So it'll be interesting to see where she goes. Whether she goes to the Vinery over 2,000 metres would probably be her next run. So she'll be taking on some good fillies there, you would think.
Yep. That certainly does look the case, doesn't it, Mark Rhoden?
Yes. This race didn't pan out at all like I thought it would. I thought Yaletown might lead in a pretty moderate pace with Poland taking a sit, but that didn't eventuate. That set it up for the winner, dry track and fast pace. And, that was what she wanted. I did have a question mark on whether Yaletown was up to this class, and I thought in a moderate pace he might get away with it, but I think the speed that was put on by Poland exposed that he's not yet there. I think he's got something, but he's not there yet. And Impecunious was pretty ordinary, I thought. If Poland wasn't flat after Caulfield, he'd be flat after this.
Yeah.
I think we got an upgrade at this stage to good 3, which we haven't had, which is a bit of a watershed moment on a Metropolitan Saturday, a good 3.
There was a bit of cheering in the rink when they put up a good 3. No one's seen it for a while.
Outstanding. Race 7 was the Group 1, the Coolmore Classic over 1,500 for the fillies and mares, and Krone hit that rare air for Tony Gollan and Tim Clark, and was strong going through the line, defeating Mizzy. I think, Mark Rhoden, that was one of your plays of the day, wasn't it? At a bit of a price. Half looked chance there and got run over late. In terms of the speed, 1.8 lengths fast to the 600 on punting form starter. So again, just another evenly run race. Rob Scurry, run us through the fillies and mares.
A lot of good looking horses. I was maybe a bit Waller in love at this stage, and might have had a bit of rose coloured glasses on Madame Rouge and Subpoenaed. I thought Ice Bath had trained on as well. Mizzy looked great. She looked like she was better than she was in the Wait for Age race, so she was a play for me as well. And Krone paraded well, but she just looks like a good Saturday horse. She doesn't look like a Group 1 horse to me. Sovereign Award, I think I re-sent out the Ben Cousins, ripped Ben Cousins style. And that's, come across from a wide gate and knocked up pretty badly late. Other than that, old girlfriend Dame Giselle, maybe the 3-year-old fillies aren't terrible, Mark Shean?
Yeah, well, they ran all right here. Dame Giselle and Vangelic didn't have a lot of luck in the straight, so she should have finished closer. So, I suppose they had no weight on their back and they were entitled to do something. But, look, she's just a mare in form, isn't she, Krone? Yep. Wet and dry. She's run an outstanding section in the last 2 wins. She's going on good sectionals again on Saturday. So, beautiful ride from Tim Clark. She's going to win a long way from home, 450 out. She was jogging behind them, and when she finally got the split, she exploded. I thought Subpoenaed was great. I agree with Rob. It's probably the best she'd ever paraded, but she got into a bad spot, 3 wide on a limb, no cover. And I thought she could progress from that run going to a mile at Ramick. All Saints Eve, another one who I think will definitely improve going to a mile at Ramick. Forbidden Love was a forgive run. I didn't really like her at the price, but she had no luck in the race, got skittled on 2 or 3 occasions.
Mark Rhoden, any love for old mate Ice Bath going forward to a potential wet track at some stage?
Well, that'll be the key, but I'm not sure if I'm not as in love as I was last prep, put it that way.
Okay.
But it certainly comes into play on any time she strikes a wet track. I was on Krone last time, and actually, I think I said on the review show last time, well, she's proven she belongs at this level, and Do I back her at double figure odds? No. Mizzy. Yes, he did raise hope for 50 metres or so, but Krone was always looking to win from a fair way out. So no hard luck stories there, just a nearish miss. Subpoenaed unlucky. Yeah, not much more to add from me, really.
Okay, no worries. We'll just preview race 8 to finish with the Ajax Stakes over 1,500. And I'm Superman, who wasn't suited last start at Caulfield, just came up and ran around in a very slowly run race and got the job done. 2.8 lengths slow to the 600 they went. Rob, I'm Superman. How did he parade there on Saturday?
Lovely horse. Just a bit, I level staked him, then I changed to back and rock a bit more to win. I'm Superman, always been a really good type. I thought of Dicko, hope he was on it. Rock, this stable horses can parade a bit tubby, a bit woolly first up. I thought he paraded not like that. I wouldn't say forward, but and he's got such a beautiful walk on him, Rock. I think he's in for a good prep. I didn't really think much Buffalo River. Think it over. He seems to be just flying at the moment. Maybe he's a weight for age horse. I don't know. Looks like Elvis always catches my eye. Mr. Seawolf as well. Roly Poly, Perfect Waller. He looked really well first up. But yeah, I think Rock's the one to follow out of the race.
Mark Shean, how did you see this race on Saturday?
Well, I think the drawing track was sort of against Buffalo River there. He looked a bit light first time I'd seen him and broke out. So, he's had a bit of racing his last couple of runs here now. So 3 runs in, but doesn't carry a lot of condition. I agree with Rock. I've definitely seen him look better, but obviously he's going to take on races like the Doncaster and such. So he's going to be in hard company. Winner got a nice run after being 3 wide down the back and then got a nice sit in behind them. And Creadira's probably in the life brigade now.
Mark Rhoden, Buffalo River only went 14 lengths slower than it did last start on between the Blamey Stakes then going to the Ajax. So not leading might have been the key to his disappointment there.
Possibly. So you won't say Pango, but you will say Ajax. It's WA pronunciation's got me. Well, you can't say Derby, you say Derby, don't you?
Well, we say Derby for the football, but Derby for the racing, so go figure.
It's complex.
Right.
There's probably a happy medium, hopefully, somewhere for Buffalo River between insane breakneck charging in front and going too slow. These are the Group 2, Group 3 horses. They, who gets the right run on the day tends to win, and that happened to be I Am Superman. Second up, we'll say he won track and distance second up last time. Another this run last prep like Toffee Tongue. Definitely an important form factor. Think it over, just going fantastic. His handicap rating's too high, though. I mean, Rob suggested he might be a weight for age horse. Well, he's going to have to be now because his handicap rating is 106. So he's, he had 58 in this, which I backed him, but I mentioned before on Thursday that I thought 58 wasn't a great weight for him. He's probably going to have too much weight in the Doncaster to win it. And, he really has to step up to weight for age company now, which is a bit unfortunate for him, I think. Yes, I have to agree. That surely is the end of the Market's love affair with Creadiris. $2.40 again, eh? How about that?
Something there for the pink button smashers. All right, that brings us to the end. I'll get some horses to follow from each of you. Mark Shean, I'll start with you.
I thought Mizzou out of race 3, I think it was, the Pago or Pango. I've been there, but I was on a cruise. I was pretty drunk. And I think Nudge in the last was a very good run, eye-catching run coming from well back, and I thought she paraded great. So it was just a little bit short for her. She was another one who'll be heading for those mares races, but I thought it was a good return.
Okay, Mark Rhoden, a couple of horses for yourself.
In a race over the Carnival on a wet track, Wonderbar definitely was the one for me. And back to weaker grade, Super from the same race I mentioned earlier. And out of the 2-year-olds, the thing I mentioned on Thursday, Converge, who I thought 1,200 was a task first up. Then he was 3 wide for most of the race, and he was only beaten a length and a half. So back to the midweeks and maybe back to 1,100 or 1,000 could be winning.
Okay, and Rob Scurry, a couple of to follow out of the yard.
Tiger Malay into the sires. Shakira can run well again next week, but it's all a bit up in the air with the wet tracks looming. We've had a touch of autumn today. Once they really get wet from now, it's hard to get them dry if we don't get the warm weather. But fingers crossed, it's good 3 on Saturday, so Christmas. But that's about it. Tiger Malay.
Okay, very good. You did mention the week ahead. There's a little bit of rain forecast tomorrow. There's also a meeting at Hawkesbury, then Kenzo Wednesday, Newcastle Thursday, and then Kembla and Rosehill on Saturday. But the forecast is anywhere from 5 to 10 mils Wednesday, and then 10 to 30 odd on Thursday, much the same Friday, much the same Saturday. So it could be anything. Shean, if you're doing the form, if you're looking to get some early, or some late futures, I should say, for this Saturday in the 2-year-olds, we're looking at the slipper. What are you thinking at this stage?
Well, I suppose stay inside and 4 moves ahead of the 2 that are both proven in the wet on more than one occasion. So, Sydney's a big place. Like, it absolutely poured at my joint on Friday, and it didn't rain at Rosehill. So, they got the forecast right in some respects. But Rosehill didn't get a drop. It would have been, it would have been wet at Randwick. So, whether it lands at Rosehill through the week is another thing we've got to look at.
Rob, you're very much a student of the yard at this time of year. Is there one of the races that you're really keen to be in the yard for on Saturday?
Look, the Golden Slipper's always good. Maybe the Rider. It's just a great day. It's Carnival Day.
Yeah.
But on a heavy track, it's best not to to think about it too much. Whether it's going to be heavy or it's going to be dry, just get there and try and enjoy it. Find some winners for the punters. Yes,
exactly right. Mark Rhoden, the fun doesn't stop at this stage. You're still pretty busy for this week.
Yeah, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Got 3 midweek meetings again. Not sure how aggressive I'll be at Hawkesbury with rain tipped during the day. That might be one to go tread warily with. But plenty on. And the midweek metros at this time of year are really good because those 78 plus horses get forced out of the Saturday cards onto the Wednesday one. So there should be something for us there.
I should just ask a quick question before we finish up. Mark Shean, do you have any live futures tickets for this Saturday?
Well, I'm on those 2 wet trackers in the slipper, and I'm on Animo as well. So there's 3 you can cross out.
No, that's a trifecta.
There's 3 you can put the pen through for sure.
Good thing. One of those, I'm not going to say it.
No, Rob, please.
They are. That's the pointy end of the market right there. Come on, surely. For something.
No, I've been through it enough to know that surely doesn't apply.
Oh. Well, we'll discuss it on or later in the week. We'll do a full preview of the big races there on Saturday. Until then, enjoy the week, guys, and go well.